The second and final day of voting for Egyptians in the first phase of the elections. Put us through the latest and updates you have.
Yes, and speaking of the latest, Muhammad, as you mentioned, this is the second and final day for the first day of the parliamentary elections, the elections for the House of Representatives in 14 different governorates containing a number of big governorates like Al-Giza, Alexandria, Al-Fayoum, Aswan, Luxor. So big governorates with a big population, at least 35 million, will be participating or are eligible to be participating in the voting process for the parliamentary elections. So as you mentioned, regarding the developments today, we have seen Councillor Ahmed, the head of the Executive Committee of the National Elections Authority, giving out a message to the voters and giving out messages to the candidates, and more specifically for the voters, that they will be having a full chance to be casting their votes and to be casting their ballots, even if the conclusion of the election process or the voting process had reached its time at 9 p.m. People will be getting more minutes, will be getting maybe half an hour to be casting their votes and casting their ballots. Of course, as we did say today, one of the main messages of Councillor Binderi for the councillors, for the judges, for the civil servants, that they should be counting the votes at 9 p.m. or at the conclusion of the voting process for the parliamentary elections in different governorates, in 14 different governorates, and the polling stations, because we know that there are at least 5,606 polling stations that will be used throughout the voting process for the parliamentary elections for the Egyptians living within Egypt. But the main message that the counting will be taking place, but not the announcement of the results. This is the main mission of the National Elections Authority, so it would not be happening today. The voting and the counting will be concluded today at the polling stations in the 14 different governorates. And one of the main messages of Councillor Binderi as well for the Egyptians, and more specifically for the youth, for the women, for the people with disabilities, to be going and casting their votes and casting their ballots, because this is an opportunity for the path of development and democracy. Muhammad.
Voting will continue for like more than 15 minutes, will close at 9. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly, Muhammad. Whenever someone is within the polling station, he or she will be getting the full opportunity to be casting their votes, even if it's past 9 p.m., maybe 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, and as you mentioned, it could be 60 minutes, but I don't think it would be taking much more than that.
Okay. Have you got any remarks or complaints from international observers or even civil society observers?
Well, for yesterday, I had an exclusive interview with Councillor Binderi, and I asked him about the international observers and the bilateral ties between the National Elections Authority and the international observers coming from different parts, from the Arab world, from Africa, from the United Nations, from the Arab League, so different parts. What were the bilateral ties between both parties? And he stated that they are in constant contact between the National Elections Authority and the international observers on the ground. And as we did see throughout the day, for example, my colleague Shuruq Bakir, she had an exclusive interview with one of the observers in Alexandria, the governorate of Alexandria, and of course she gave us an idea of how she looked at the process of the voting for the parliamentary elections and for the elections for the House of Representatives. And this gives a good idea of how the international observers look at the parliamentary elections process in general, how things are panning out throughout the 2 days, and how things took place for the Egyptian expatriates in the past couple of days on Friday and Saturday. And this will be giving us a glimpse of what will be happening in the final phase of the parliamentary elections and the House of Representatives elections, which will be taking place in 13 different governorates, including Cairo. But speaking of violations and speaking of the international observers, they have had a very good idea of how things are going on nowadays in Egypt in 14 different governorates, and we are looking forward to the last phase and to the successful conclusion for today, Muhammad.
Thank you very much, our correspondent Ahmed Nader from the headquarters of the National Election Authority. Thank you very much.